What's up, folks? It's your boy Droid here, and this is part 2 of the shoves and lottery picks video. This is gonna focus on lottery picks, but before we get into it, hit that like button, that subscribe button, hit the bell for the notifications. But yeah, lottery picks, they're the power up and playgrounds too. In terms of the community, I would say they're probably hated on for the most part. If you win a game, you happen to have a good pick, people are gonna say, you're saved by that pick. You won because of that pick. Top players always say, yeah, all these guys, they get saved by the lottery pick at the end. So really, we're just gonna focus mostly on the balancing of the picks. Are they pretty balanced? And then we're gonna go into my opinion about them. So in terms of balance, I would say there's one glaring issue. So you could be up by like 5 to 7 points, and you could still get something like double threes or multiplier stars. So like, let's say you start off the game, you're hot, and you end up with a 7-0 lead. You could still end up getting double threes and you just start blowing your opponent away, right out the gate. Now it's not always the case, you may get something, weaker, but there's a chance you can get something pretty powerful and you're up in the game. I've seen it many times. People tend to hate on the lottery picks because they can be devastating late in games. So, the ice basket is probably, with it's fewer time in the clock, maybe like 10 seconds or less. It's pretty devastating. It's tough to come back, and score when you got the ice basket in the last couple seconds of the game. Same thing with the curse pick. The curse pick, you can get around it, if you get a putback or you get lucky with a shot, but it's still, something that is a huge hurdle late in the game, especially due to the stamina, lack of stamina. So you can't really avoid your opponent as well. But for the most part, I would say lottery picks, they have a counter or a way to manage against it. Like shot clock pick, you can, you get less time on the clock, but it's not really a counter or issue playing against someone with the clock. You just have to manage your time, pay attention. Super strength, or the power up, that one, you get improved stats and everything, but it's not necessarily like you can shoot threes, but you're not gonna necessarily make every three when you have that power up on. But it does help you. Super speed, they say that boosts, all your skills as well. In some sense, like you get more, it's more effective to do things like blocks. But it's not a very overpowered pick. You can still play, make shots, things like that. So yeah, for the most part, I would say lottery picks are balanced in this game. It's just for the fact that you can get some pretty devastating ones. People hate it, but that's the design of the game. The game is designed, especially late in the game, to give you a game-changing pick so that you have a decisive finish. Revan and Kojak, they had a game where they ran out of time. They just kept doing extra time. Game was tied up, no one could take a lead, and the game ends up ending after a certain amount of periods, and you end up losing that game. So, lottery meter management, that's one of those things that people don't really talk about. Trying to get picks early on and late in the game to make a difference. People don't really talk about that skill. So why are lottery picks so hated if they can be stopped? Well, people hate losing. That's just how it is. When people lose, they want to come up with an excuse, come up with a way to take away your win. It is what it is. In my opinion, lottery picks should stay in the game. So first simple argument, it's the same argument for keeping shoving in the game. Part of the game, that's just the game design. They put it in the game for a reason. This is an arcade game. So, every arcade basketball game you've played, it has some sort of power up or devastating ability. NBA Jam, you got on fire mode. NBA Street, game breakers. Like in our, NBA Jam fire mode, you got increased shooting. Like you pretty much shoot lights out. You can goaltend, got infinite turbo, so you got some devastating things there. NBA, NBA ballers, you got different unlockable perks like fire mode, increased turbo goaltends. So, in terms of arcade game, you have to have some sort of power up, make the game fun and interesting. The next thing is just the simple fact everyone has been saved by a lottery pick once or twice at least. There's not a top player that can sit back and say, "Oh, every game I won, I didn't have a lottery pick to help me out." You got games where Pro to 10, Revan, Kojak, Rambo, whoever, end up getting a timely pick that changes the game. That's just part of the game of Playgrounds. You get a good pick, you still got to execute it. And you always have a chance to defend against those picks. There's not a pick that's so broken that can't be stopped. Probably the hardest one to stop is double dunks. But again, you could get some steals, get some blocks. It's not like impossible to stop it. There's a way to stop every pick. And that could be an interesting video, in the future, discussing how to counter different picks and stuff like that. But I will say, playing exhibition mode with no lottery pick and no clock is definitely a fun experience. I think it's something that everyone should try. Exhibition mode is like a great variety of different customizations. You can have a game where you just have 3-point power-ups, just chuck a bunch of threes. You got one with no power-ups. You can have one with just ice baskets, So it is a lot of fun things you can do. I think maybe they could always add that in a future game, like different modes. So maybe have a mode with no shot meter in championship mode. But I just think that the lottery meter itself, it makes Playgrounds its own unique game. It takes elements from different great games like NBA Jam, NBA Street, Mario Kart, things like that. So it's it's a very fun game. It's in championship mode, so that's just how it is. If you want to get 3-4 rings, you gotta be able to manage the lottery meter. But that's my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think in the comments. I know a lot of you are gonna say take them out the game. I'd rather play without them. But I like to see what people think. Leave a like, subscribe, comment. Peace.